The galaxy had many monsters. Some were born in the vacuum between stars, drifting like nightmares wrapped in cosmic dust. Some were forged in laboratories, engineered for war, precision, and extinction. And then there were those like Kale Voran, creatures not born but made. Kale was not simply feared. He was remembered. Worlds whispered his name long after he had left them in ruin. Entire fleets altered their trajectories just to avoid the systems rumored to have once hosted him. His presence alone could silence negotiations and collapse alliances. He had no home, no past worth remembering, only purpose. The weapon. Kale Voran was created by the Dominion of Ushkur, an empire that believed emotion was inefficiency. Their scientists stripped away everything unnecessary, fear, hesitation, doubt, and replaced it with control, obedience, and lethal precision. His body was not entirely organic. Beneath his skin ran biosynthetic fibers stronger than steel. His eyes could see across multiple spectrums. His mind processed tactical data faster than any machine. But his greatest weapon wasn't his strength. It was his silence. Kale did not speak unless commanded. He did not question orders. He did not hesitate. He simply executed. For 27 years, he served the Dominion. He crushed rebellions before they began. He dismantled resistance cells within hours. He eliminated leaders, armies, and entire civilizations that dared oppose Ushkur. They called him the Void Blade. Because wherever he passed, nothing remained. The breaking point. It happened on a world called Elera. Elera was small, unimportant in the grand scale of galactic politics. It had no military power, no strategic advantage, no rare resources. Only people. Peaceful ones. The Dominion marked it for annihilation not because it posed a threat, but because it refused to submit. Kale was deployed alone. As always, he descended through Elera's atmosphere in a silent drop capsule, landing in the heart of a city that had never known war. Children were playing in the streets when he arrived. They stopped. They stared. Kale walked forward, his steps measured, his expression empty. His mission was clear: eliminate leadership, destabilize population, prepare for orbital cleansing. Simple, efficient, final. But then, a child approached him. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old. Her clothes were simple, her face smudged with dust. But her eyes were unafraid. "You're lost," she said. Kale froze. It wasn't fear. It wasn't confusion. It was interruption. His mind, engineered for perfect clarity, faltered. The girl stepped closer. "You don't belong here," she continued softly. "But you don't look like you belong anywhere." Kale's internal systems registered the anomaly. Emotional disruption. Unknown variable. He should have eliminated her. Instead, he did nothing. For the first time in 27 years, Kale Voran hesitated. The choice. The Dominion's command echoed in his mind. Proceed. Kale raised his weapon. The girl smiled. Not in defiance. Not in fear. But in understanding. "You don't have to do it," she said. Something broke. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, like a crack in glass. Kale lowered his weapon. The betrayal. The Dominion did not tolerate failure. Within minutes, orbital fleets positioned themselves above Elera. Kale received a final command. Stand down. Planetary cleansing initiated. Kale looked up at the sky. He knew what that meant. Fire. Death. Erasure. Everything he had been built to enforce. But this time, something inside him resisted. He grabbed the girl. "Hold on," he said, his voice rough and used. It was the first time he had spoken in years. He activated his emergency jump drive, a forbidden protocol designed only for Dominion agents. The sky ignited as they vanished. The exile. Kale and the girl emerged in the outer rim, far from Dominion space. The girl, her name was Lyra, stared at him with wide eyes. "You saved me," she said. Kale did not respond. He didn't know how. Saving wasn't something he had been programmed to understand. For days, they drifted aboard a stolen vessel. Kale navigated through forgotten systems, avoiding detection. Lyra watched him constantly, curious, unafraid. "You're not like the others," she said one day. Kale finally looked at her. "I was made to be," he replied. "But you're not," she insisted. Kale didn't argue, because for the first time, he wasn't sure. The hunter becomes the hunted. News of Kale's betrayal spread quickly. The Dominion labeled him rogue, a defect, a threat. They deployed hunters, elite operatives designed to eliminate even him. Kale knew they would come. He also knew he could not outrun them forever. But something had changed. He wasn't running for himself. He was protecting her. The human weeks later, they arrived at a fringe colony known as Haven's Edge, a lawless outpost where the galaxy's forgotten gathered. That's where they met him. Elias Bourne, a human. Kale had encountered humans before. They were unpredictable, resilient, and annoyingly persistent. But Elias was different. He didn't flinch when he saw Kale, didn't reach for a weapon, didn't run. Instead, he smiled. "You look like trouble," Elias said casually. Kale stared at him. "And you look like someone who needs help." The unlikely master Elias wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a warlord. He wasn't even particularly strong. But he had something Kale had never encountered before. Conviction. Elias helped refugees, smuggled supplies, protected those who couldn't protect themselves. Not because he was ordered to, but because he chose to. "You could do a lot of damage," Elias said to Kale one night. Kale didn't deny it. "But you could also do a lot of good." Kale frowned. "Good is inefficient." Elias laughed. "Yeah, but it's worth it." The shift at first, Kale stayed only to ensure Lyra's safety. But days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. And slowly, something impossible began to happen. Kale Voran, the galaxy's most feared warrior, began to change. He trained with Elias. Not to destroy, but to defend. He learned restraint. He learned patience. He learned choice. Lyra became his anchor. Elias became something else. Not a commander, not a creator, but a guide. The return of the Dominion peace never lasts. The Dominion found them. A fleet descended upon Haven's Edge, led by Kale's replacement, another weapon, just like he had once been. But colder, stronger, more obedient. Its designation was V9. Its mission was simple: eliminate Kale Voran. The battle the sky burned as Dominion ships surrounded the colony. Panic spread. Refugees ran. Defenses activated. Elias turned to Kale. "This is your past," he said. "But it doesn't have to be your future." Kale nodded. "I know." For the first time, he stepped forward not as a weapon of destruction, but as a protector. The confrontation Kale faced V9 at the center of the colony. The two were identical in design, but not in spirit. "You have deviated," V9 stated. "Yes," Kale replied. "You will be terminated." Kale raised his weapon. No, the battle was brutal. Every move mirrored. Every strike countered. But there was one difference. V9 fought with precision. Kale fought with purpose. And purpose was stronger. The choice that defined everything. Kale had the chance to destroy V9, to end it, to eliminate the threat. But he hesitated. Not out of weakness, but Out of understanding, he saw himself in that machine. What he had been. What he could have remained. You don't have to do this, Kale said. V9 paused. Just for a fraction of a second. But it was enough. The Dominion's control flickered. And, in that moment, Kale made a different choice. He didn't kill V9. He freed it. The fall of the Dominion's weapon without control, V9 collapsed. Not destroyed, but released. The Dominion's fleet, now without its primary weapon, faltered. Elias and the colony's defenders pushed back. And for the first time, the Dominion retreated. The aftermath of the galaxy changed that day. Not because a war was won, but because something impossible had happened. A weapon had chosen not to kill. A monster had chosen to protect. And a human had changed everything. The new Master Kale stood at the edge of the colony, watching the stars. Elias approached him. You could leave, you know, Elias said. Go anywhere. Kale shook his head. I already have. Elias smiled. So, what now? Kale looked at Lyra, laughing in the distance. Then back at Elias. I stay, he said. Not because I'm ordered to. Because I choose to. Elias nodded. Good. Kale Voran, the galaxy's most feared warrior, had found something greater than power. Something greater than control. He had found purpose. And in doing so, he had found a new master. Not one who commanded him, but one who showed him how to be more than what he was created to be. A human. The legacy years later, stories spread across the galaxy. Not of the Void Blade. Not of destruction. But of a guardian. A protector. A warrior who once brought fear. And now brought hope. And somewhere, in a quiet corner of the universe, a man, a child, and a former weapon looked up at the stars. Not as conquerors, but as something far more powerful.